Good evening, Mr. Ambassador. I would like to ask you, is the attack yesterday night, is it mainly a symbolic one, or should we see a game changer in the civil war in Syria?
It is definitely not a symbolic attack. It was a very serious operation that happened last night. The purpose was to degrade Syria's chemical weapons stocks and to deter future use. And we are still assessing the impact of the strikes, but we believe they were successful in their military objective. And the important thing now is that we see no repeat of use of chemical weapons in Syria, but it was absolutely not a symbolic strike.
But the West decided to attack only the chemical program of Assad regime and not Assad regime by himself or Syrian officials. So what will prevent Assad from having or from using a chemical weapon again, as it was using a chemical weapon just last April?
Well, we were very clear that the purpose of these strikes is just about deterring chemical weapons use. It is not about trying to intervene in the civil war or to change the course of the conflict in Syria. And I think, we hope, that the seriousness of the strikes that happened last night will deter the Assad regime. They're more serious than anything that has happened so far. And the regime's use of chemical weapons has been absolutely appalling and reprehensible. We really hope that with the strikes we've taken, the decisive action that happened last night, that will deter them in the future.
Does the British government accept the fact that nowadays the Russians are the one that basically in charge of Syria nowadays?
Well, they've obviously had a major impact on the conflict in Syria, and that brings with it great responsibilities for Russia, including ensuring that the protection they have given Assad in the Security Council, where they have used their veto 6 times in just since the start of 2017. It's their responsibility now to ensure that Assad does not use chemical weapons again. It's also their responsibility to help bring about an end to this appalling conflict. They're very heavily engaged. They have great responsibilities as a permanent member of the Security Council.
I would like to ask you about Israel concerns regarding the Iranian bases in Syria nowadays. Well, according to some foreign reports, Israel has attacked several times those bases in Syria. What is the UK approach for those attacks? Are you accepting this?
Well, when there was the spike in tensions and the action on the 10th of February this year, the British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson spoke very clearly in support of Israel's right to defend itself. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I can't speculate about hypothetical scenarios in the future, but we understand Israel's concerns about the role that Iran is playing in Syria.
But does the British demand the fact that Assad must go now?
We've said many times that it is hard to imagine a future Syria which is peaceful with Assad in control, given the role that he has played, the many hundreds of thousands of his own citizens that have been killed during the last few years. But the detail of how a political process works through, that needs to be part of the negotiation. But that's what we want to see, a credible political process that's going to lead to an agreed political solution. That's the only way forward.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you.